Welcome back to Grandpa Reaction. We're back with another Elvis Presley reaction. A little different. This is like a more interview of Ann-Margret finally reveals why she left Elvis Presley. Okay. You know, Grandpa likes to gossip, and if it's here, I'm gonna try to give it out to you. But I'm sure y'all seen this video. I haven't. My first reaction. Appreciate y'all. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, notification bells on to get all my videos. Blase. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
You have a lot of Elvis stories you could give us?
Well, you saw Viva Las Vegas.
Yes, I did many times.
We always obsess over celebrity power couples, especially those that never got their happy ending. Obviously, not all couples last, but it's the ones that were meant to be and still didn't end up together that make us lose all our hope for love. Elvis and Ann-Margret are one of those old Hollywood love stories that people still talk about to this day. But what was it about them that was so special? And what was the real reason why Ann-Margret ended up leaving Elvis?
Electric Love.
When two people are big stars in Hollywood, it's just a matter of time before they run into each other. For Ann-Margret and Elvis, this happened when Elvis was 28 and already a big star, while Ann was 22 and still working on building her career. They met on the set of Viva Las Vegas as co-stars, and it was a strictly professional relationship in the beginning. Except for a piano, the MGM soundstage where Elvis and I met was empty. In the background, a few of his guys hung around observing their boss, a ritual I would soon come to expect. Under the watchful gaze of director George Sidney, a studio photographer snapped shots of what the film company executives figured would be a historic moment. Ann-Margret explained the time she and Elvis first met. "Elvis Presley, I'd like you to meet a wonderful young lady." "Ann-Margret," said George Sidney. "Ann-Margret, this is Elvis Presley." The significance was lost on Elvis and me. I reached out my hand and he shook it gently. "I've heard a lot about you," we said at the same time, which made us laugh and broke the ice. Their partnership worked well from the very beginning, and when the film production started, it got even better. Ann knew there was something special about Elvis before even meeting him, and she would soon start to see why everyone fell for him. It definitely wasn't just his looks that got all the American women swooning over him. "I'm not really sure why I was so calm about meeting the king," Ann-Margret noted. "After all, this was Elvis, a man who had captured the heart of almost every woman in America. Little did I know he would soon capture mine." Ann-Margret didn't want to admit that she felt the connection between her and Elvis, but everyone who worked with them witnessed them slowly falling for each other. One AP even noted that they hold hands, he'd disappear into his dressing room between shots. They lunched together in seclusion. They both had more in common than the roles they shared in Viva Las Vegas, which definitely helped the chemistry between them. As they spent more time together, they realized they share their love of music, motorcycles, and God, which only made them even more perfect for each other. We experienced music in the same visceral way. Music ignited a fiery, pent-up passion inside Elvis and me. It was an odd, embarrassing, funny, inspiring, and wonderful sensation. We looked at each other's moves and saw virtual mirror images. When Elvis thrust his pelvis, mine slammed forward too. When his shoulder dropped, I was down there with him. When he whirled, I was already on my heel, Ann-Margret said. Their professional relationship turned into a personal one really quickly, and before you knew it, the two were having an affair. But according to their friends, it was more than just an affair. The two of them really loved each other. Ann even said they were soulmates, but it was some other commitment that stopped them from being together forever. Elvis's affair with Ann-Margret was not just an affair. Elvis's close friend, Lamar Fike, said he was really in love with her. "It got hot and heavy," Marty Lacker added. "Neither of them was married, and they really cared a lot about each other. And Priscilla was back at Graceland. We both felt a current, an electricity that went straight through us. It would become a force we couldn't control," she wrote in her book. "He had touched something deep within my psyche." At the time when Ann and Elvis were having their full-blown love affair, Elvis was already in another relationship with Priscilla Presley. But since Elvis was shooting in Las Vegas, Priscilla was waiting for him back at home in Graceland. So out of sight, out of mind, that relationship definitely didn't stop him from pursuing Ann. When Priscilla found out, all hell broke loose. Priscilla and Elvis went on vacation after the film had finished shooting to make up for all that lost time. But sadly, that vacation went sideways real quick. Fake reports that Elvis was secretly engaged to Ann-Margret were all over the news, and Priscilla didn't take this well. She said that when she saw the news, she had a violent rage and picked up a flower vase and threw it across the room, shattering it against the wall. Apparently, Elvis was angry at Priscilla for her reaction and pinned her down to the bed to calm her down and make sure she wasn't going to be upset over the affair. Elvis said to her, "I want a woman who's going to understand that things like this might just happen. Are you going to be her or not?" But the affair didn't come as much of a surprise to Priscilla as you may think. It was later revealed that she didn't feel comfortable with the casting of Viva Las Vegas from the beginning, but she never got the chance to voice her concerns because Elvis Elvis was always too busy to listen to her. I realized that even had I told him my fears, he could have said nothing to put my mind at ease. Because one evening, he had made the mistake of telling me about the romances he'd had with many of his co-stars.
Oh, he must have been drunk.
Said. Trying to listen calmly to these stories, I justified his behavior by reminding myself that I'd been living in Germany during those years.
I'm gonna be honest with you. One time, when I was married, right, married. All right, I came home with my cousin late at night. I got permission to go out by my wife. Okay, so you know that, and we went to a strip club, and we had fun. I mean, no, nothing, cheating on. I mean, I got permission just to go to a strip club. Nothing happened though. Like people think in their head, it's typical dancing. You know what I mean? And I went back home drunk as hell and told my wife all about it. You know where I slept, right? Almost on the porch. So I begged her, let me sleep on the couch or on the living room floor, either one. Oh yeah, that night I was so drunk that I told her. Oh, she was on top of me like this, and then she was infuriated, and I'm like, baby, but you said I can go have fun. Yeah, but I didn't say you can come back and tell me all about it. So Grandpa's stupid for that, but never mind about that. Let's go back into it. It's a little story.
Real ties then. Unfortunately, no matter how much she lied to herself, her fears came into reality with him and Ann. But after almost 2 years of having an affair, Ann and Elvis decided to call it quits. They knew that it had gotten out of hand. And even though they loved each other, they couldn't be together. There were other factors in Elvis's life that forced him apart from me, and I understood them. Elvis has always been honest with me, but still, it was a confusing situation. We continued to see each other periodically until we had dated for almost a year. Then everything halted. We knew the relationship had to end, that Elvis had to fulfill his commitment, Ann explained. Elvis obviously wanted an old-fashioned relationship with a wife who would put up with everything he does, and he knew Ann-Margret wasn't that woman for him. Ann was also as successful and independent as Elvis, so that was just another reason the two of them couldn't be together. He had a big ego, and he couldn't be with a woman who would outshine him all his life, and Ann knew this as well. According to Elvis's former bodyguard, Sonny West, Elvis thought that women should be the submissive ones in relationships, and they should put their careers last. Elvis loved women, but he mostly saw them as mothers and wives other than anything else. West also wrote in his memoir, I have no doubt that Elvis loved Ann, but deep down he knew she wouldn't ever take a back seat to his career, and rightfully so. Ann was going to be a major superstar in her own right, and nobody knew it more than Elvis. His ex-girlfriends knew this as well. His classic line was, you don't take your wife to work with you, so the wives stayed home, but the girlfriends got to travel. His ex-girlfriend, Linda Thompson, said. Even during the filming of Viva Las Vegas, he saw Ann-Margret as competition, no matter how much he loved her. Priscilla quoted Elvis saying, I've got some crazed director madly in love with Ann. The way he's directing it, you'd think it was her movie. He's favoring her in all the goddamn close-up shots. Not only that, they want her to sing some of the songs with me. Colonel about blew a fuse, told them they'd have to pay me extra to sing with her. A fan commented, I was a big Elvis fan, loved the man, but if I was in his shoes and had to choose, it wouldn't have been even close. Ann-Margret was and still is one of God's gift to this earth. The mistake Elvis made wasn't choosing Priscilla, it was in his expectations of what a mate should be. There was nothing that Ann-Margret couldn't have provided for the man, and if he had chosen Ann-Margret Olsen and still had a need for other women, then he would have been the biggest fool that God ever created. Because none of this happened. He made his choice, and as it turned out, it worked out best for Ann-Margret. In the long term, their breakup was for the best. They had to give up their true love, but no one gave up their career. Elvis had promised Priscilla he would marry her, and he finally fulfilled this commitment in 1967. Ann also married Roger Smith just 1 week later. So the two were finally settled down and put the whole affair behind them. But that didn't mean Elvis and Ann were out of each other's lives. The cutest part about their relationship is how they remained friends their whole lives, even after their affair stopped. They never spoke poorly of each other, even after Elvis broke Ann's heart. And Elvis sent flower arrangements before all of her performances. So when on August 15th, 1977, she noticed she didn't receive any flowers, Ann knew something was wrong, and she later found out that Elvis died. He sent flowers, and you knew he was dead when the flowers didn't arrive. He'd send you flowers whenever you had a new engagement in the shape of a guitar, she was asked during an interview. It was unreal. It was just unreal, because I'm real private, and he was too, she replied. The impact they had on each other was obvious, and although they couldn't be together, they never stayed apart till the very last days of Elvis's life. Everyone wonders if everything would have been different if the two of them would have stayed together, but we'll never know that. But if them being together meant a superstar like Ann-Margret would give up on her career, then we're happy Priscilla came between the two. Ann picked her career, and Elvis went the old-fashioned way, but both of them loved a life they will both always be remembered by. If you liked this video, make sure to watch this other one. I don't even think I did that one. I gotta find that one. Yo, that was pretty cool, man. I mean, I learned a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Ann-Margret finally reveals why she left Elvis. You know? Simple. You know what I mean? He had to commit to his wife. That's what, respect. You know what I mean? Simple as that.
You know, she's like, I'm not having this no more. I'm not having this affair no more. Simple as that, you know. But that's heartbreaking, you know, that he always sent her flowers for everything. Then the flowers didn't come. And she knew in her head that he had passed away, basically, because he would never forget, you know what I mean, to send flowers. So big up to the king. Respect. Ann-Margret, too. Legend. Beautiful as always. Mwah. Appreciate all my Elvis fans. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. Leave a like, notification bells on to get all my videos. And I'll see you next time. Peace.